Hey guys, it's Mitch. Happy Thursday afternoon from a very hot, sultry Atlanta, Georgia. Um, Wanted to do a little video here that Ray and I have talked about for a while now. And Ray's at work. He's working hard right now and asked me if I would go ahead and put this together for you tonight. Give you guys a little bit of heads up on what's coming and what we're trying to do. It'd be two parts to the video. The first part's going to be a little bit about what Ray and I are trying to do and where we see this going. Second is I'm going to go over about a half a dozen or maybe 4 or 5 bullet points that came out of the first 2 videos on Matthew. And these bullet points you can take and we'll put them available up on our Facebook and kind of get you ready for this Sunday's lessons, okay? But first of all, I wanted to say that I'm very, very blessed and grateful, as Ray would say also, to have those of you out there that are actively engaging and actively checking out the videos. When we first decided we were going to start doing this, we didn't know what if we just had one person or if we had 10 people. We felt a tug at our hearts that we needed to take some of the knowledge and some of the learning that we have been exposed to and start bringing some of that truth out to some of the people that we know. Ray has, most of you know, a lot of you know Ray from a couple of other Facebook pages that he does. He has a lot of content that he adds to them. For some of you, you're just now getting exposed to me, and yes, Ray's the good-looking one, but I have the brain, okay? It's a joke, all right? But we have been working on doing these videos and just kind of getting a feel for the layout of where we want to go with it. And we thought, what would be a better thing to do than to put together a central location for what we are trying to put out there, okay? And so we've thought about doing our own Facebook page that we've got several people that are jumping in to help us out with this. It's going to primarily be like what you have seen so far with the recordings of the Ethics of the Fathers, which is, if you haven't seen those yet, which is some great, great teachings out of a collection of books, Jewish books that talk about ethics. How do we live together? And they were actually put together for families, for parents to give to their children as they grow up, and it's really amazing. So we will continue doing those. Also, we thought it would be kind of cool to do a study of the Gospel of Matthew. And if you are not aware of it, Matthew is a crazy, crazy Jewish book. I mean, it is absolutely, from start to finish, a Jewish written book. The way the content is, the way it's written, the style of writing, the things that are said are all very similar to things that you would find in the earlier part of Scripture or the earlier part of the Bible itself. We thought that by doing this Facebook page, we would also allow some other resources to be a part of it, some other things that we learned through and that we have had an opportunity to get exposure to. Some people that have grown up in the church, they can remember when it used to be called Judeo-Christianity. Well, for the most part, the Judeo part has been thrown away. And it's just Christianity. You even have pastors now that say, you've heard me say this before because I've heard it from pastors of large megachurches, you don't need the Old Testament, the New Testament will get you all you need, okay? And then you'll have people that will put up memes on their Facebook pages or their social media or things. They'll say, all I need is Jesus. Okay, what does that mean? All you need is Jesus. Well, what does that mean? You mean just for your golden ticket? Okay. Does that mean you're trying to follow his teachings and the person that he is? Okay. Well, if you're going to follow who he is and his teachings, You need to understand the context of the person and what he's saying. Unfortunately, that doesn't come through when people read the Gospels in an English translation, or the way they may hear it from a platform. And I've said this before, guys, that I'm not here to bash the church. Philosophically, you do church however you want to do church. Okay, you want to have a rock band, you want to have an organist, you want to have whatever, you do it. What I have a problem with is theology, what the church is basing its theology on. And for many Christians, they could care less. Many sit out in the chairs and could not tell you what the theological foundation of their church is, or what the theological foundation of what they believe is. That's why we used to always say in the church world, man, when kids would hit the teenage years and they would graduate from high school, man, they disappear from the church. If they go to college, man, they definitely disappear. Why? Because they would get on their philosophical classes, philosophy classes, comparative religion classes. And they didn't have enough of a foundation to hold up against those professors and against other people that had more knowledge about theology than they did. So what we are trying to do is bring an avenue, a pathway to bring truth from Scripture, from its context of the days when Jesus lived, the days prior to Jesus living, and put it back into its original context. And so by doing that through our teachings and through some of our studies, and the big thing is, we're in a really crazy time right now because you've got the whole COVID thing. You've got COVID affecting schools, work, all kinds of places like that. As a matter of fact, my wife is an assistant principal at a high school. They were meeting today about the start of the school year. And we even have some surrounding counties that are not going to, they're going to only have virtual learning until the second semester of the school year. Well, what does that mean? That means that the kids have to learn a new way virtually. The teachers have to teach a new way virtually. The resources have to be fresh and new, okay? And so with that, I've heard of large mega churches who are not going to have gatherings until after the first of the year, if they come back after the first of the year. So they do a lot of their online stuff and things like that. But the heart that Ray and I have is to get people into Scripture, to get people to understand Scripture, and to learn a new way to study, to learn a new way to pray, to learn a new way to apply themselves when it comes to living with other people. We've also been in this whole atmosphere in the country with the disturbances and uproars and things like that, and we've got to get back to understanding how to treat people and how to be with people. So through this Facebook page, we're going to call it A Bridge from Rome to Jerusalem, and Ray and I will actually do a video on what that means, from Rome to Jerusalem. And that's what we're going to call it. I've got somebody that's close that's going to be building this page and help get it up for us in the next couple weeks. Very excited about that. But we want interaction. A lot of times when people go to church or they go somewhere, it's a one-way conversation. That's not the way it was back in Jesus's day, or back in the early church, or back in the synagogues. It was always the reading of the Scripture for that week, and then you took maybe 5 or 10 minutes to expound upon it, and then you went into study, and you studied, and you wrestled, and you didn't always have the right answers, and you pulled, and you wrestled with different types of commentaries and stuff like that from the great sages and the great rabbis. And what that created was an element of just explosiveness when it came to understanding the one true God. And so that's kind of what our purpose is as we move into doing this Facebook page. We will continue the study of Matthew, as we will continue other studies as well. The ethics of the fathers. We want to do more Facebook Live presentations where you have an opportunity to interact with us, and hopefully we get the kinks worked out of them, so we don't have what happened with the last one when Ray got stuck by himself, which is probably a good thing, where you get a better chance of looking at him for a period of time than having to look at me for the whole period of time, okay? The resources. And then another thing I'm excited about is one of the things that has really burned at my heart and has really allowed me to grow deep in my study is the study of the language of Hebrew. This is the holy language. This is the language that God shared down to Moses, okay? And so you're like, oh, why do I need to learn another language, okay? I say that to people that read the King James Bible, you know? But with Hebrew, what's cool about this is you get to hear, like for instance, when Jesus is in the temple and he's reading out of Jeremiah, or he's reading out of the Torah scroll. You take that section of scripture and you listen to it in Hebrew as he would have read it. It's just amazing, and it's amazing to read scripture through Hebrew and get its correct context that way. I've got a friend of mine that teaches modern Hebrew, and she is willing to, we will have a connection to her on the Facebook page, and you can connect with her and talk to her about the idea of maybe learning Hebrew. She does a phenomenal job the way she teaches it. It's very applicable. It's very workable in a busy schedule and so forth. So that's something that I'm really looking forward to as we progress into getting this Facebook page up for you guys. And like I said before, Ray has several other Facebook pages, and one is called The Historical Jewish Jesus. And we hope that the Facebook page that we put together from Rome to Jerusalem will be the bridge of getting people early on from their Christian thought process, or maybe no thought process theologically wise, into a foundation. And then from there, you can go on and check out that other page where Ray and some other contributors go a little bit deeper into the discussion, and they look at some other resources and things like that. I do want to say this, where I have heard before, when it comes to listening to rabbis or listening to great sages and things like that, you're going to have some teachers and pastors and preachers that are going to say, don't do that. You don't need to be listening to rabbis because they're going to mess everything up. Well, here's the problem with that thinking. Who do you think Jesus listened to? Who do you think Paul listened to? Paul sat under a rabbi called Gamaliel, whose great-grandfather was one of the greatest rabbis of all time. You know, Hillel, it was Hillel and Shammai were the two great sage rabbis of the time prior to Jesus. This is where a lot of what Jesus and Paul through the oral Torah, this is what they learned from. So why take them out of the mix? There's so much you can learn. There's so much so in depth that you can learn about the festivals and things that allow you to connect with God in a way that you've never thought you could connect with. So we'll get into some details about that as well. I'm excited. Ray's excited. I hope that as this continues to progress on, like I said, we want to bring a format that will allow you to plug in and really become part of this, and really have something you can turn to. You know, whether we're not asking you to leave your church, we're not asking you to stop listening to doing your Beth Moore studies or whatever. We're just saying that we want to put another resource out there for you to give you an opportunity to grow in your faith from its original Jewish context, leaving out all the middle stuff, okay? All of the stuff that comes from the middle part that has caused Christianity to just veer off, and the thinking as well to veer off. but bring it back in line with what it was intended to be. Okay, so enough about that. I'm going to go down these bullet points real quick for you, and then we'll put these up later on for you. The first study of Matthew, we talked about the genealogy in Matthew and Luke, are that of Joseph, the father of Jesus of Nazareth. Joseph is called the son of David, and for he is from the royal line. So, tribal affiliation via the paternal line from the father. You can clearly see the problem if we say Joseph is not the real father. Jesus would be disqualified from being a messianic candidate. This is crucial because a lot of times Christians look at the genealogy and first of all, they ask why. Second of all, they try to piece the pieces together. But if you understand tribal affiliation, if you understand the office of Messiah is not a title that the Bible Belt gave him. It's not a title that the Western world gave him. It is a title that the Jews gave him. The Jewish people gave to him, King of the Jews, the Messiah, okay? So understanding that genealogy and how that points him back to where he needs to be pointed to in order to be able to accept that title and be a part of that title. The virgin birth. The virgin birth accounts are only found in Matthew and Luke. That it and only one or two verses of it. Nobody else in the entire New Testament ever mentioned it at all. Why? Nobody makes it a big deal, but it is a main tenet of Christianity, okay? If we believe in the virgin birth, we must understand that a miracle was done here. The seed of Joseph was the seed of Mary, was the seed in Mary, meaning Joseph is Jesus' real father or cannot be the Messiah. Okay? The Messianic line is via the father of the tribe of Judah and of the line of David through Solomon. We're not saying that the virgin birth didn't happen. That's not what we're saying. We're saying that it was a miraculous event if you look at it, and for it to be in line with Scripture, there has to be that DNA from the paternal father, okay? One of the main reasons why the virgin birth is such a big doctrine in Christianity is because the church fathers, and when we say the church fathers, we're not talking about the ones way back, we're talking about the ones later, like on up, like 400 or 500 years ago, because the church fathers taught that man is born in sin, original sin. Hence why little babies are baptized, because it is believed that they are born in sin and hellbound, in need of salvation from birth. This belief is contrary to Scripture, and we talked about that. What is passed on to all men in death is not sin. Whoever sinned, is death. Death is passed on, not sin, okay? And whoever sins, that man is held liable in what the Scripture teaches. Christianity believes in this, and through the virgin birth, it is believed that he is saved from the sin nature. This is why the virgin birth is such a big deal, okay? And then finally, many of the patriarchs and righteous men of the Bible had a miraculous birth, and Ray talked about that some the other night as well. We also showed evidence in other Jewish writings that not even virgin births were far from what God could do. If man can cause a virgin birth in our day via artificial insemination, then surely God can top that, okay? And again, if you believe in the virgin birth, that's fine. Nobody is knocking a person from believing that. Part of that miraculous piece of the puzzle for Jesus to hold that office of messiahship is, if he follows Scripture, it would be in line that he would have DNA from his biological father, and because of the genealogy of his biological father, okay? So we'll do some more, we'll hit on that a little bit more. If you have questions, you can throw those into the comment section. But I just really wanted to throw this out here tonight to kind of give you a direction of what's coming down the pike. Like I said, I'm really excited about the Facebook page. I'm real excited about how God has just ignited my heart, having gone through years of ministry in one element, and all of a sudden going through some rough times in life and rough times and just trying to figure out, is God done with me? Or is there more to this? And then all of a sudden this comes about. And like with Ray too, we both have similar paths that we've kind of gone through, as well as some of the people that are helping out with us here. So really looking forward to what's out there ahead of us. I would welcome any questions from you guys. And like I said, y'all have been amazing and have been encouraging. We hope to, like I said, to get you more involved through the Facebook Live pieces of the puzzle. So what I'm going to do now is shut up. I'm going to go away, let you guys enjoy the rest of your Thursday night. But be looking forward. We'll see you definitely Sunday morning for the third study of Matthew. We also have a study of the ethics of the fathers that's coming around the corner as well. And some other surprises will be coming down the pike as well. So you guys take care of yourself. Blessings on your families. And we appreciate all of you. We'll talk to you later.